What's going on, everybody? It is Saturday, October 1st. Look at that, already stumbling out the gate. This is your Daily Dog Take. I'm Jacob, your host at Roaches and 13, joined by Mr. Bad himself, Mr. Michael Cozzi. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, Jacob. Just kind of chilling out, relaxing, getting ready for game day.
I love doing these. We, of course, record these at the Friday night, so it's a really good way to launch into the weekend, just doing some NFL picks. Before we get to the picks, guys, I got to tell you about our friends over at Homage. If you are ready to get decked out with all the best Browns gear, please go to Homage and check out all that stuff. They got win the whole fucking thing t-shirts for the Guardians, so maybe go over there and get you one of those, and I'll put a link down into the description or in the comments to a link to the win the whole fucking things, because I know we're doing football today, but I love those shirts, so we're gonna promo those ones for this week. So yeah, man, we're gonna launch here into week 4. I've been doing this head-to-head thing, so if you beat me this week, I will donate $20 to your favorite charity. So that's what I've been doing, and going back and forth. I think I lost you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can't. Sorry. It was me. It was the way I was talking.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I lost the first 2. So anyway.
You're off to a thrilling start right now, aren't you?
It's a thrilling start. Yeah. And I just, we don't have to talk about it. So we'll start, man. We were just talking about this, about the London game. So tell everybody who doesn't know necessarily what you shared with me about London matchups in the history going into this.
So I believe we talked about next week's game is going to be the Packers and Giants over in London, and it'll be the first time that 2 teams will play each other that are 500 or better, which is just astronomically bad. I mean, you got Minnesota and New Orleans this week. New Orleans comes in at 1-2. Minnesota's 2-1. We're 3 weeks into the season, and you can't even get an over 500 matchup there. I mean, granted, I get that New Orleans probably should have won last week. In my opinion, they're a little bit better than the Panthers, but, man, they looked bad. They looked really bad. Like, just awful. I can't see them going to London and winning. I just can't.
All right, so we're rolling it right through. So you're taking the Vikings off the top.
I think the Vikings are not a bad team. If you really look at them and you break them down, they have the players. I mean, Kirk Cousins, everyone likes to just give him a lot of shit. We got Nick Mullins, his backup. I mean, we know how Nick can be. Nick can be fine. He can be okay. So if Kirk goes down, I'm not even that kind of worried. I mean, I love Kirk Cousins. I'm a big Kirk Cousins fan, always have been. They have a great explosive run game in Dalvin Cook. Their offensive line's pretty good. They still use C.J. Ham a little bit in the fullback position. And obviously Justin Jefferson is just a generational talent. And Adam Thielen kind of came together last week. He had a really good week last week against the Lions and against a very good Lions team. And then, I mean, their defense is whatever. I'm never impressed by it. But I don't know. I mean, they do have kind of old veteran players there. Their defense is pretty old, to be honest with you. But overall, I don't really like the Saints at all. No Thomas this week. You got the Red Rifle playing this week, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah. Have fun
with London.
Yeah, it's going to be an off. Honestly, we played the Vikings there at one point, and we actually played the Vikings pretty tough. I mean, it was a 2-touchdown game. I think we scored late to make it a 1-touchdown game. I think this is going to be the same thing. Vikings are up by like 2 touchdowns. Saints might make it like 7 or an 11-point game late, something like that. I just don't see them winning, though.
It's funny you mentioned that London game for the Browns, which was the 0-16 year. I was overseas for that game, and that because of it being at like 9 or whatever it was back in the U.S., it was like a 1 or 2 p.m. kick for me. So it was like an actual it was a really fun game for me because it was at the time that it would normally be back home. And of course they, Hugh Jackson did some Hugh Jackson thing.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Vikings. I'm really upset because I picked like Jameis to lead the league in passing and all these crazy stats that I was like, yeah, they're going to put up all these, statistical numbers, passing the yards. I said he might throw a bunch of touchdowns or a bunch of picks, but he'll throw a bunch of touchdowns to do all these things. And yeah, it's bad. So it's bad.
I actually thought that Jameis was going to be pretty good for the Saints this year. I mean, he was on fire last year until he got injured. And this year he looks like he's back to the old Jameis.
Looks like he got unlasiced.
Yeah. Yep.
That seemed to fix it. The Seahawks and Lions, man, like the Seahawks, we thought week one, we were kind of like, oh, wow, they end up beating Denver. It's this really weird game where Geno looks kind of good, like at times and stuff. And it turns out that Denver's just not very good, I don't think. So I like the Lions, man. I've wanted to like the Lions for a while, and I'm going to take them this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions as well. I like the Lions a lot. I love their head coach. I love Dan Campbell. He's such a motivator, and everyone's like, oh, you need to be more of a head coach than a motivator. And I'm like, yeah, but he gets the job done. He gets the most out of the players. DeAndre Swift is going to be hurt this week, so fantasy team, I definitely know that. So he's not going to play, and neither is St. Brown, but yeah. I still think that they get it done. I'd say look for a big week by TJ Hawkinson. I think the Lions handle business pretty easily, to be honest with you. I just don't think Seattle, especially traveling across the country at 1:00 kick. West Coast teams don't do very good at 1:00 kicks, and they're just not a very good team overall. I mean, they lost at home to the Falcons, and obviously we'll see the Falcons this week, and we'll talk about it later, but just that explains it. They lost at home to the Falcons, who
had to travel to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like, that's all. Yeah, exactly. That's all you got. A Falcons defense that is not good. Like they've got some things on offense, and Arthur Smith's a nice coach, and I like what he's going there. And we'll get to the Falcons here later in the show. But like, yeah, that's all you gotta point it out when you lay it out. And you just say, you know what, TJ Hawkinson is my fantasy tight end. So I love that prediction. So, okay, this game, and I'm going to say this in the gentlest way I can. The Jets and the Steelers. And I'm going to say this because I'm probably going to take some flack for saying this, and I'm sure you know exactly what I'm going to. These teams stink.
Oh, yeah.
They stink, and the only reason the Jets have a win is because Denzel Ward and Grant Delpit have some weird bromance that is causing some awful communication. And I don't.
Well, you got to remember also our onside kicks.
Yeah. You know what? I will give the Jets kicker some credit. That was a very nicely placed and timed. Their whole special teams unit on that was a very nice. It barely goes 10 yards, and you get it. Like I got to give them some credit.
You know what? I had a chance to watch the Jets this past Sunday.
I was at the Jets game, unfortunately.
The Jets Browns game. I was at that too, unfortunately. But I obviously, with us playing the Steelers on Thursday night, I got a chance to watch the Jets again against another team in the Bengals last Sunday. And they're very rough to watch without a good quarterback. Now, I actually like Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson he's way better than Joe Flacco. Yes. I don't think Joe Flacco should ever play for them. I thought Mike White did fine for them last year filling in. I don't know why they didn't play him. I have no idea. Here's the thing. Steelers are a well-coached team. They keep games close. They win with their defense. Correct me if I'm wrong. TJ Watt's still out for them, correct? Okay. They're not going to beat the Jets. I think the Jets actually get this win.
I'm going with you. Yeah.
I think this is two bad teams, but I do think Zach Wilson coming back and Garrett Wilson looks amazing. Last week, if Corey Davis doesn't take a personal foul penalty against the Bengals when they're in the red zone, they're probably kicking another onside kick to try and beat the Bengals. So it's like they almost did it back-to-back weeks. They were in the red zone. It should have been a 3rd and 3. Instead, it was a 3rd and 18 because of a personal foul. So I don't know. I kind of like this Jets team is not as bad as everyone thought they were going to be. They're not great, but they're not as bad. And they do. I really like Quinnen Williams and Quincy Williams, to be honest with you. I think their defense there is solid. Sauce Gardner looks good. They're going to be a team in the next few years that's going to be competitive. The Steelers, though, they just have nothing. I know we beat them by 12 / we beat them by 6, actually, give or take, whatever you want to say. But it never seemed like in the second half they were threatening to beat us.
No.
I felt like, okay, we have this game. Like, I'm not that worried. The only time I got worried was once again on another onside kick.
Yeah.
But that was it. Like, I never felt like, oh man, they're gonna like keep this thing rolling and go score a touchdown this drive. It just, the second half, it was like they're so bad on offense. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball. George Pickens is their only bright spot on that offense, and no one can get him the ball. So, yeah, I'm taking the Jets in this one.
I'll take the Jets solely based on weapons. I just like their weapons more, man. I like Garrett Wilson. Elijah Moore was my draft crush last year. Like, I told that to the Jets Way podcast when they hopped on this show with me a couple of weeks ago to preview the Jets. I said, you got all the weapons that I want. So, like, I'm just gonna take them. I feel like they've got weapons. I'm not scared of anything that Pittsburgh has. That's just I mean, like you said, like once the Browns were able to score, which I knew they could do that. Once they scored in the second half, I was like, I don't care now. Like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. We'll ride this thing out. It's going to be all right. Now, if you really want a game that's interesting, because I don't know what I think about the Giants, and I know that the Bears stink, but they are winning games with Fields throwing for like 80 yards. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Chicago or what's going on with the Giants, but Saquon looks like Saquon. Daniel Jones, unfortunately, looks like Daniel Jones. But that defense, man, I kind of like what's going on in that defense a little bit. They got some players. Adoree Jackson is finally looking like the Adoree Jackson that got the contract that he got last year. Kenny Galladay can't figure out why he's not getting any snaps until he then watches the film and goes, oh, I see, I suck. And like, I would go through that sort of thing. But the Bears, like, I just feel so bad for Justin Fields because I just don't think we can adequately figure out what's going on with him. And I think the Giants have, with Kayvon Thibodeau being back, he was kind of shaking some rust off last week, but I thought he looked really nice in the second half until he kind of got gassed there towards the end because, Daniel Jones was just doing Daniel Jones things. But, all of that to be said that, I'm going to take the Giants in this, what could be a very low-scoring affair.
I'm actually going to agree with you with this. My thing is, by the way, we have a hurricane that's going to be moving up the coast, probably going to hit New York on Sunday. Probably going to be a sloppy game. I know the Bears beat the 49ers in that slop fest at Soldier Field, but I just don't see that happening again. I think that I'm not a hater on Daniel Jones. I'm just not to that point. He's not great, but he's not bad, and they're still winning games. They're 2-1. I think the Cowboys actually have a pretty good defense. So I don't know. But I think that they grind out a win at MetLife, and Giants are 3-1, which not a lot of people saw coming.
I love it. My good buddy's he's a big Giants fan, so he says that in case you're curious, it's not pronounced Dable, it's DeBalls. That's what he told me. It's the balls.
Well, yeah, we know Brian Dable very well here in Cleveland, so
Yes,
I'll save more comments for later.
Later. Okay, here's a game. Okay, so I have these Titans Colts, right? This is a game where I did not think the Titans were going to be very good this year. I just Tannehill is just I think he's just kind of going downhill. You could only lean on Derrick Henry so much because these last couple of years, I know he had the injury last year, but it felt like towards the back end of the year before teams were starting to somewhat figure out how to not stop him, but limit him from his ability to just absolutely own the game. You trade AJ Brown because sure, why not? And I can't really figure out how that offense consistently wins. I thought the Colts would be good with Matty Ice, and I don't know what the hell's going on over there. And, of course, they beat the Chiefs, but those first two games were just dreadful looking. Jonathan Taylor still Jonathan Taylor. I'd say all of that to say I'm not very confident, but I still think that I'll take the Colts because I still like Matt Ryan a little bit better than I like Ryan Tannehill. I feel like they're kind of on an even playing field where there's a lot of questions for both teams. But in the end, I think that I'm just going to go with the better quarterback. And in my mind, somehow, for whatever reason, it's still Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I agree. It's Matt Ryan is better quarterback. I don't hate Tannehill, though. That's the thing. Like, I'm another person who I give a lot of quarterbacks. I give them a long leash. Maybe it's because I'm just so defeated by all the quarterbacks I've watched us go through. But no, Matt Ryan had a pretty good game against Kansas City. And here's the thing. Everyone's like, oh, man, they got blown away by Jacksonville. Maybe Jacksonville's actually good. Maybe we don't give them enough credit because Jacksonville has had 2 blowout wins in a row. And fun fact here, the Colts have not won in Jacksonville in 6 years.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville's been pretty bad. I think everyone remembers last year, last game of the season, Colts lost at Jacksonville and missed the playoff because of it. Then they traded Wentz and went and got Matt Ryan. If they win, they make the playoffs, and Carson Wentz is probably still their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan last week, 27 of 37, only 222 yards, but he led game-winning touchdown drive. I think he found his rhythm. It took him a while. It took him a decent while to get into that rhythm. I mean, it was their first home game. They have another home game this week. I think they protect the dome, and they beat Tennessee handily. I don't know what's wrong with this Tennessee offense because, I mean, Derrick Henry, he's not having a great year. He has 2 touchdowns through 3 games. I know we're like, oh, man, like whatever. He also has under 200 yards through 3 games. Derrick Henry usually has like 250, almost 300 by now. Like, that's a big, big loss of yardage there. Ryan Tannehill is throwing for 215 on average per game right now. So, yeah, if that tells you anything. I don't know. Tennessee trading away A.J. Brown made no sense, and now it looks even worse because, hate to say it, Robert Woods is not Robert Woods anymore. But, yeah, I will. I'm going Colts as well. Have we picked any games different?
No, but I think we're getting there.
Oh, we are. Well, here's the thing. If Austin Hooper didn't play for the Titans, I might have picked them. But 3 yards and I'll fall down.
My favorite quote after that trade or after the cut and the sign was he was like, I don't know why they paid me all that money if they weren't going to utilize me. And it's like, motherfucker, they threw at you so much.
You led our teams in targets last year and receptions too. So
and drop percentage.
Yeah, that's true.
He dropped over 10% of his targets last year. So we moved to Houston. You've got the Chargers and you got the Texans, and I'm putting the Chargers on upset alert. I'm going to take Houston, and here's why. There is so much going on with the Chargers, and I'm starting to wonder, is Brandon Staley this coach that everybody thinks he is? And why I'm saying that is they continue, and I understand right now that there are some injuries. I understand that, especially the most important player on your team, and you're without Bosa. I get all of those things. You're 100% right. But even in the beginning of the year, I'm looking at it, and it's continuing to be, man, Brandon Staley's this great coach, but they're just not producing wins. Like, you're not going to the playoffs. You're not leading your division, And I know it's still very, very early in the year to put kind of any kind of stamp on what this year is, of what type of coach he is, what kind of season the Chargers are having. But with all of those injuries, with them continuing to run Herbert out there, I think somehow there's so much turmoil going on there that the Texans, who still have some talent, I think, on that offense, I think they take advantage of the injuries that the Chargers have, and I'll take Houston and Davis Mills to pull the upset.
I don't think this is an upset at all. I think Herbert's still hurt, and I'm taking Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, we're same wavelength here with this one. Herbert's still hurt, and now they're without a left tackle for the season. Lindsay's still hurt at center. I don't know. It's going to be – I mean – I think that they're rushing people back because if you really look at it, like we said, you have your left tackles out for the season, and now you have Corey Linsley, who he is questionable to play. And are you rushing him back? I mean, we see them next week, so I'm not gonna lie. If you start rushing players back, kind of okay with it, but at the same time, like as we talk about them as a team, like, why are they not playing Chase Daniel? Like, take some losses and get your quarterback healthy. Eckler,
it's early enough to do it.
Eckler can carry you to some victories, by the way. And you're not going to see Keenan Allen either. So he's out again. He's missed every game this year. And has he missed every game? Okay. Yeah, every game this year. And he's probably going to miss maybe 2 to 3 more, they were saying. So I think that the Chargers are us of last year, where they didn't have the preseason injuries, but now the injuries are mounting as the season is going on, and they're rushing players back.
Yeah.
Herbert, Linsley, we rushed Wills back last year, and we played Baker hurt. And whether it's Herbert who wants to go out there and play, or whether it's a coaching staff going, because I'm not quite sure that he got shut down by their team doctors. So it's not like he went for a second opinion. He was cleared. And did he get the shot last week or not?
I don't know for sure, but it was the same doctor that they've had.
Yeah. So
I would not have let that doctor give me a shot after what happened to Tyrod.
There's going to be a lot of stuff that happens. And my player of the week in this game, though, is Damien Pierce. He's going to have a breakout game, I think. I think that he runs wild and has a great week. So
I like it. All right, let's move to it's another one I don't like. There's some matchups that just are weird here. The Commanders and the Cowboys. Like, I really don't like the Cowboys. And there's always like a bias there about them. But like, I hate Carson Wentz. Like, it's irrational. Like, okay, so obviously it stems from the trade and then him always being compared to Cleveland and who won the trade? And the answer is no one. But like you go back and forth, all these things, what the Browns did with the picks, because I would have done it again. They just had the wrong person making the picks.
Yeah,
I mean, they got a really nice haul. I love Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel's out there, and it's like I like a lot of what they got going on to the weapons. I don't know. Carson Wentz, though, he starts seasons well, and he's started this season well.
I just want to know, like, I thought their defense was going to be really good, and they played pretty well against Jacksonville. I mean, for the most part, Jacksonville kind of hung in there. It was a very close game. I mean, very fought, very equally. I mean, for the most part, Washington kind of led early, and then Jacksonville came storming back, and it was back and forth in the fourth quarter, and Washington ended up winning it late with a late touchdown. And then there was, I believe, was there a pick six in this game that changed the whole outlook of this game?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So there was a pick six. It was very late in the game, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or something like that. Something happened late in this game to where it was they were driving or something maybe, and there was a pick. So, I mean, the Commanders won it because of that. I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Commanders because last week was just looked like no effort. I mean, they were down 24-0, then they got the safety, and then they got a touchdown on top of it, and it was okay, well, what happened to Carson Wentz from week one? Because since then he was okay against the Lions, but they had no defense. And then last week, the Eagles just kind of dominated. So I'm actually going to take the Cowboys in this one. I think Cowboys defense steps up big. I think they win. It's in Dallas, so I'm taking the Cowboys.
I'll take the Commanders because for no other reason than I don't like the Cowboys. I don't know. I hate it.
Don't worry. There's going to be a few other different ones that we do not agree on, and I can definitely guarantee that.
Okay. I'm going to go with, I think Carson Wentz, throws for 300 in both of the first two, although he threw some nice picks in there. I'm going to go with the Commanders because I still think he's better than Cooper Rush. I think I'll go with he's better than Cooper Rush, and I like his weapons maybe a little bit more, just a little bit more.
I've heard some rumblings from Dallas, maybe Cooper Rush is the answer, and maybe they get rid of Dak.
You know what? It would not shock me.
Well, hey, Jerry Jones will do Jerry Jones stuff.
He will always do Jerry Jones stuff, man.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting with that. So, but
he's still trying so hard to say that he won the Amari Cooper trade, and it's just dude, you need to you traded him away for a bag of potato chips.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's relax. Okay, Jags Eagles. This one's interesting because it does beg the question. You ask, hey, are the Jaguars good? We laughed at the Christian Kirk contract, and it might be a little bit too much money, but dude's playing good football and they're winning games. So hey, what are you doing? I really liked Doug Peterson down there, going down there to begin with. I was you're giving him an athletic quarterback. You're giving him a better Carson Wentz, a more athletic Carson Wentz.
Yep.
And I think he has the wherewithal to understand how to capitalize on that sort of thing and that skill set. So I like Peterson more than I think some people do. He's going back to Philly for the revenge game. I like the Eagles a lot too. But I like Robinson, man. I like that. Oh my goodness. That's a tough one. You know what though? I am going to do it. I'm going to take the Jaguars. And I'm sorry.
We're literally agreeing on every game here right now.
Well, we just disagreed.
I know, but I'm taking the Jags.
Okay.
I'm taking the Jags because I think Doug Peterson goes back to Philly. He's going to get booed. He's going to get hassled by the fans, which I will never understand that whole thing of them booing Doug Peterson. Dude brought you a Super Bowl. Could you imagine Stefanski bringing us a Super Bowl and 2 years later coming back to coach against us? I can't imagine Stefanski first off getting fired.
Yeah.
No matter what, a Super Bowl after 2 years, but it's kind of 2 or 3 years, right? 3 years ago?
3. I think it was 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just can't see that. But I think the Jags go in there. I think they win. Jags are hot. They're on fire. It just goes to show how bad Urban Meyer really was at coaching. He's a great recruiter, but maybe he's not the greatest with X's and O's.
Maybe he hires really good coordinators. Okay, the best game in the 1:00 window, other than the Browns, of course. Hey, that Browns game's got some interesting like stats and fact lines that we'll get to when we get back down to it because I think it's really funny. Okay, this one's hard, man. The Bills and the Ravens. This is like
easy.
It's easy. Go
Bills by a landslide.
Yeah.
Bills by a landslide. So I'll tell you right now. So the Ravens have the top defense when it comes to turnovers, but they have one of the worst defenses when it comes to if they don't turn the ball over. And guess what? The Bills don't turn the ball over. So I really like the Bills this Sunday. I think in a landslide, I think they're going to come in pissed off. They felt like, first off, it's not going to be 1,000 degrees like it was in Miami last week. Stephon Diggs probably isn't going to get cramped up and like die on the field, basically. I just think Bills easily. And if you really look at the Ravens, I mean, they kind of struggle with Mac Jones and the Patriots. And Mac threw the pick and he got hurt after the pick, but it's like you won by 11 and you were in a dogfight with the Patriots, a serious dogfight. And if I look at the Patriots and I look at the Bills up and down, I am taking the Bills in a landslide. And I know it goes week to week, game to game. It's in Baltimore. It's going to be a raucous crowd. That's fine. They're not going to win this game. I don't even think it's close. I think the Bills win something like 35 to like 21, 35-24, something like that. And the Ravens score like a touchdown or maybe 10 points late.
And Lamar, here's the thing about that. Lamar is accounting for something stupid like 80% of their yardage right now.
Yeah.
Which is just not sustainable. Like, no. I mean, and I'm not even talking about injury. I'm just talking about fatigue. Like, I just don't see how you could continue that up. I really want to pick the Ravens because I want to be different, but I can't do it. Like, I'm not sure it'll be a really wide margin. I think it'll be 10 points. Like, I think it depends on what you think is wide, I guess.
I don't get the Ravens. Like, this
their defense is not very good.
Because here's the thing. If you really go down and look at it, Lamar has a third of their carries on the season. A third. Like, I'm looking at it right now. There's 72 attempts on run plays. Lamar has 26 carries on 72 for the team total. Like, that just I trust me, if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm kind of like not happy about it. And of course, your top wide receiver with 22 receptions is your tight end, Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
And Buffalo's defense isn't bad. They haven't really struggled that much with anybody. I mean, even Miami, they only gave up 21 points. So
they just cramped up and couldn't score themselves. Like,
exactly. I mean, they had 450 yards of offense and scored 17 points off of it with a safety happening.
They ran 90 plays to Miami's 34, and that is an outstanding number to lose a game. To lose when you ran 90 to 34 plays, like that is.
If you look at team stats, Buffalo had 31 first downs to Miami's 15. That score says to me that literally first down yardage plays. Yardage was 497 to 212. That score should say Buffalo like 56 40? Or something.
Yeah, 40. I was going to say 41, 20.
42 to 21, 45 to 21, something like that. And yet they lost 21-19. I think it was a fluke. I think they come out this week, they complete drives and end up winning the game.
It's one of those really, okay. Yeah. Okay. So the Cardinals, they go to play, a quarterback. He just needs some help, man. He needs his wide receivers to get open better for him so that he can figure out how to throw the ball. Maybe if he has off-season surgery and he gets healthy, he'll actually be, oh, wait. Oh, shit. Yeah, Cardinals by 1,000,000, man. I just saw it. I don't know if you've seen it. I saw this like 2 hours ago. They're already reporting that Rules lost the locker room, man. Like it's.
I didn't see that report, but Cardinals aren't a terrible team. They played the Rams tough. They played the Chiefs tough, actually. They beat the Raiders in a come-from-behind win. Okay, great. The Panthers beat the Saints, but the offense did nothing last week. I mean, and
they had Chenault taking one to the house, and that was it.
I believe the end of the hurricane is going to be moving through there on Sunday as well. So probably going to be raining. Once again, I'm looking it up. They had 293 yards of offense last week, and Baker threw for 148. Not going to get it done.
Half of that was on one pass.
Yeah, that's it's actually the 4:00 window is like a lot of bad games. There's a lot of bad games. Cardinals by a landslide, I think. So
this one, oh my God. So these were playoff teams, and I list this next one. I wrote a piece for Fansided that I put 3 contenders that will miss the playoffs, and the Raiders were my number 1 team. Josh McDaniels is not a good coach. People need to stop thinking that dude can coach. He can't even coach an offense. And you know what I mean by that is I wrote this article, and I have to go back and look at the stat because like I dug it all up because I knew it was like this. Outside of 1 year, and that year was last year with Mac Jones. And what just happened to be a really weird year where Mac Jones did just enough. They ran the football a ton. They had several bad weather games like that one where they threw 3 passes and won a game. Yep. But so they're in total offense. Teams that were coached by Josh McDaniels, either the head coach or the offensive coordinator, in total offense, he only had 1 season, that last one with the Patriots, where he had a top 25 deep offense without Tom Brady. So when Tom Brady has not been, he was like 27th, 28th, he was 32nd with the Rams. It was like in the high 20s to 30s, except for that last year when they were like, I think they were like 6th or 7th with Mac Jones. It was that really weird last year. But outside of that, everything else, if he did not have Tom Brady, he didn't have anything. He seems like a total dickhead. Like, I'm just going to go out there and say it. And even though Russell Wilson looks awful, and you got to hate that contract right now if you're the Broncos, I think he'll be better. I think he'll be fine. I think Josh McDaniels is so inept. Somebody said, I heard somebody on a podcast this week say over under 2 years. I'll take the under. And I will take, you know what? He's been made fun of all week. Have you seen the dangerous Subway commercial?
No. I have not.
You have not. You have. Oh my God. Russell Wilson has this TikTok video of him with a Subway sandwich. It's called the Danger Witch. Oh my, you gotta go watch that commercial. I'm going to take the Broncos here, but that's more because I just really hate Josh McDaniels and I want to watch him burn.
I'm taking the Raiders.
Sorry.
I actually don't hate Josh McDaniels. He's an Ohio boy. He's Northeast Ohio boy too. I actually like Carr a lot. I think I like Derek Carr a lot. When there was a rumor mill that he was going to get traded to the Browns, I was pretty excited.
That's the one I wanted. I won't lie about it.
He's found a new guy in Matt Collins that is kind of late in his career / hasn't really been like a factor on most teams. I'm pretty sure that he is close to like his career number in receptions already through 3 games. And what I mean by that is like career receptions for a whole season. He's done that in 3 games. He's having an outstanding season so far. And if you really go look at it, like everyone's like, oh man, like he did it in 1 game. Well, actually, no, he really hasn't. He had a great game last week against Tennessee. He had a great game against Arizona. I think that they put it all together this week. I don't like the Broncos at all. I'm a Broncos hater. Always have been, always will be. And it has, even like before I knew what the drive and the fumble and all that other stuff was, just never really liked the Broncos. I just always looked at them as like one of those teams that like, oh, whatever, you guys are. I don't know. I just have never. It's like really a random fan kind of thing that I just don't like the Broncos. And this year they're getting the snooze fest of last Sunday night was awful. I mean, they had no business even playing that game on Sunday Night Football. Like that was awful.
I didn't. Well, I turned it off. I was like, I'm going to bed. I was like, I'm gonna. Okay, so you talk about not liking the Broncos. Nick Carnes hates the Raiders. Like, if you want to set him off and you want to get him to say the F word, mention the Raiders. He hates the Raiders so much. There was a pod we did last year. I don't even think like we were playing the Raiders. I don't even remember what we mentioned the Raiders. He got so mad. He just goes, fuck the Raiders. Like just in the middle of the show. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know what's going on. So I want to show you something. I have the Russell Wilson commercial up.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
So this for anybody that hasn't seen this is the TikTok that he released. And it says, duet this if you dare. And it is him talking about his new sandwich. And I can't believe that this is a real person, but here we go.
Hey, you want to split this Subway sandwich? It is my signature sandwich. It's called the Danger Witch, and it's dangerously good. Be careful though. It's spicy. You ever done anything dangerous? Jeez, that is dangerous. I've done something like that too. I won't tell anybody. Listen, one time, never mind, that's too dangerous. Anyways, my Danger Witch, it's only in the vault. That's our little secret.
He's got to be the weirdest human being in the history of sports. Like, I didn't realize he was this weird until he did that whole Broncos country, let's ride. And then, like,
started practicing giving high fives as he went onto the practice field.
Yeah. Okay, well.
You feel better about your pick, don't you?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. And I will actually agree with Carnes. I actually don't hate the Raiders. I hate the Raiders fans. So
okay.
Yeah, they're like that. Them, I would say I don't like the Broncos at all. I just never have. I hate the Raiders fans and I hate the Bills fans. So outside of our division, like those are probably the three teams that I can't stand the most.
Okay. All right, we're going to Green Bay, another snooze fest. Green Bay's weird, but they've got a lot better players than that. I don't think the Patriots are good. Like people got on me, and then of course Mac Jones. We don't know what's going on. We might see Brian Hoyer in a couple of weeks in Cleveland, and is that game? Yeah, the game's in Cleveland,
yep.
and so we might see the return of Brian Hoyer, and that's. I remember in college just thinking that he was the dude, but let's not go down that road. And anyway, but I just don't get it. I don't know what the Patriots are going to accomplish this year.
Here's my thing with them. If this season's a wash and a loss, why are you playing Brian Hoyer? Play Bailey Zapp.
Oh, yeah.
Just go play Bailey Zapp.
Yeah.
See if you got magic in a bottle.
I like him.
Why? What? I don't understand what Belichick's doing. Like, did you I know you found Tom Brady and everything, and that was amazing for you to find Tom Brady. Do you not believe in yourself that you could find lightning in a bottle twice?
No.
I don't know. I'm going with the Packers in an easy landslide win. This isn't even going to be close.
Yeah, I just don't think they're very good. I don't think the Patriots are very good.
I'm in a survivor league where you have to pick a winner each week, or not a winner each week. You have to pick it's a loser survivor pool, and you got to pick someone to lose. And this week I have the Patriots.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah. I'm right now. I've won every game, and I actually, little side note here, I did it wrong the first week, thinking I had to pick the winner, and I accidentally picked the 49ers as my main primary winner. and they lost to the Bears. And I thought, well, that was a good run. Week 1, I'm done. And someone texted me, goes, congrats, you were one of like 6 people to survive the week. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Did it totally backwards. Yeah.
I love it. All right, we got the 2 primetime games before we hit the Browns game. So Chiefs, Bucks. Like the Bucks have looked bad. The Chiefs have been kind of weird because like you're like, man, they aren't playing really well. But then when you kind of watch some of their tape, you're like, well, they seem to be fine. Like on tape, like stats and scores don't really necessarily line up with how they've looked on tape. But I just really think that at home, there's a lot of talk. It's happening. I like Tom Brady in this game just because there's just a lot of talk about him. Is he going to retire before the season? Like, is he even – like, I was, like, talking about going to that game in late November with him in Cleveland, and a few people were like, is he even going to be playing then? Like, I don't think he'd walk out in the middle of the year. I just don't think that's who he is. But all of that stuff, he's got to be hearing all that stuff, and for whatever reason, I think it hears him, it ignites him, and we see vintage Brady, and I'll take the Bucs.
Something's wrong with Bielema and Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City, and they were off last week. Like something was wrong. They're not going to get it together. When you doubt Tom Brady, he comes through. I still think that holds true. Tampa Bay by a lot in this game. Brady was pissed after last week.
Mm-hmm.
And they were back at home on Sunday night. A lot of people are probably going to be very happy to get to that game. Considering a hurricane just went through there that was kind of had these people on like lockdown for like a week. So I think a lot of people are going to be very loud and very abrasive during that game and make a lot of noise. And here's the other thing. It's a Super Bowl rematch too from 2 years ago. And I think Tampa handles them again.
I like it. Okay. This one's fun. Because I think the Rams just kind of had a slow start. I think that's all it was. Yep. I think they're starting to figure out exactly who they are. The 49ers, we thought they were a good team. Trey Lance goes down. Jimmy Garoppolo has seen what clearly, and Shanahan's trying to pay it off, but he said all your plays suck, man. Like that is what he said. Like I can read lips and you 100% said it. So I don't know what's going on there, man, at all. So I'll take the Rams because I think the 49ers they've got a lot of questions to answer.
I actually am going to take the 49ers. Okay. I think it's a very high-scoring game, believe it or not. I think the Rams get their points. I think Cooper Kupp scores a lot. I think Matt Stafford scores a lot. But I think on Monday Night Football, the 49ers come to play. I don't know what it is. There's something about these 49ers that they play well in primetime a lot.
Yeah.
And I think Nick Bosa loves to play in primetime. I think he has a huge game this week. Some way, somehow, they'll grind out a win, whether it's the other person who loves to play on primetime football, George Kittle. He loves it.
He does, yeah.
George Kittle, I think, has a great game. Deebo Samuel. I think they go high score in this game. I really do. And it's the 49ers have great fans. Yeah. They're going to make some noise and make disruption for Matt Stafford. Stafford has not looked great either this year. So
that's true.
We'll see what happens. I mean, but yeah, no, I really like the 49ers in this game.
I think that injury kind of hung around on Stafford a little bit more than they led on to.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick the 49ers. I don't know. All right. Let's talk about the game we want to talk about. Let's talk about the Browns and the Falcons. I've done a preview the last couple of days on this show. We previewed the offense. We previewed the defense. If you guys didn't check that out, those are here on the YouTube channel as well, or in the audio if that's how you're listening. AJ Terrell has not been very good. That's what I've gathered from Falcons fans telling me that their top corner is not playing well. And there's not, other than Grady Jarrett, there's not a lot going on that defense right now. There are 2 teams in the NFL to score at least 26 points in all 3 games, and it's these 2 teams, the Browns and the Falcons, which is a very interesting stat because that's just what we thought it was going to be, right? And somehow this offense is carrying this defense, again, just like we thought it was going to be. Do you want to hear a great stat?
Oh, man,
the NFL leading rusher, right? It's Nick
Yes.
Chubb.
Yes.
Do you know who's 5th in the NFL in rushing?
Probably Cordell Patterson.
Nick Chubb after contact.
Oh, okay. Well then,
he's like 4th or 5th after contact. Like he's the leading rusher, and then if you just do his after contact, he would be the 5th leading rusher in the NFL, which is just an outrageous number. He has 26 forced missed tackles. That's more than 30 NFL teams have as a team. Like
I did know that one. I did know that one. It's
like the Faithful Dogs guys, and I don't think it would necessarily happen. Like he would have to go on a very big tear. Chubb is an MVP player right now. The way he's just absolutely on a whole nother level. And that's with it, dude. Like I'm telling you, man, like it's to this point now where I appreciate it, but I'm just used to it. Like he'll make an amazing play and I'm like, yeah, that's Nick Chubb. Why is everybody shocked? It's just who he is.
Yep.
So in the end, I think the Browns have more firepower than the Falcons. I'm worried about the pass rush because I don't want Miles to play. I don't want him to play.
I've already said this multiple times. Do not rush Miles back. Do not rush Clowney back. Let's get healthy.
Yep.
Do we really need them for this game? Maybe.
If the corners play to their ability, they'll be fine.
Atlanta's shocking. But Atlanta gives up a lot of points. They give up a lot of points. Random fun fact here. Obviously, I think we're both taking the Browns this week.
Yeah.
Random fun fact here. Since 99, we played the Falcons 5 times. We are actually 4-1 against the Falcons.
Okay.
I would be willing to bet that's probably the best win percentage that we have against any team since 99. I cannot think of any other team that we have beaten that way like the Falcons.
That's fine.
Obviously, the famous William run game happened against the Falcons, where William Green broke one off and put us in the playoffs. The only loss we've had against the Falcons was in 2010, and that was at home. But we had the 2014 game where Josh Gordon scored had a last-second catch down the field, and we kicked the last-second field goal with Brian Hoyer. And then 2018 where Chubb broke a big one against them, and we pretty much handled them at home. It wasn't even close. It was actually a very fun game to be at because it was not nerve-wracking. But it's kind of funny because if you really think about it, like go against every other team, we don't dominate these teams. Every other team that we play, like we probably lost to the Lions more than the Falcons have since we've been back. I'm willing to bet because I can remember at least 2 games that we lost to the Lions.
I don't have the stats since 99, but overall against the Lions, the Browns are 5-16.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the thing. So we're not very good against the Lions, but it's like if you really stack it up against teams, I would be willing to bet that our win percentage since 99 is probably the best against the Falcons, maybe more than any other team. We are 4-1, which is just kind of ridiculous to think about.
I'll build on that stat. In the history of the Browns, they are 12-3 against the Falcons.
Wow. So we are pretty dominant against the Falcons. Falcons have not been a great franchise over the years, but they've had a great quarterback in Matt Ryan, and I'm pretty sure we faced him twice, 2014 and 2018, and we beat him both times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
This feels like a game where there's a lot of questions because you're potentially starting 2 rookies on both the edge positions, or you're starting Rochelle and Wright. And I'm not high on Rochelle like some other people are because they just like who he is. I think
I'm not very high on Rochelle, and I don't really.
I got a 94 jersey down in my closet though, so I'm pretty high on Alex Wright. So we know everybody on the Twitterverse, anybody's watching this video knows how I feel about Alex Wright. But
my main question here is for this game this week is someone like Togiai or Jordan
Yep.
Elliott or Perrion Winfrey going to step up? Because Perrion Winfrey has not played a ton.
He's been suspended, technically.
He's been nowhere on this field. So, I mean, didn't play the Jets game, suspended. How many snaps did he even play against Pittsburgh?
Here's the thing, I didn't notice him one time. So.
Yeah, exactly. He's made 0 tackles on the season. Maybe this is a game that Perrion Winfrey actually steps up, because I got news for you. Our front defensive line, we are like, I admit we need Chase Winovich. We need Chase Winovich, like, badly. And obviously he's on the IR, so it's like,
they signed Curtis Weaver back to the practice squad, and he's awful. And so, like, I just think all of what you're saying, you're 100% true. I think this is when the defensive backs and the linebackers, because JOK is fine. Like, he was running all over, looking great.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I think this is when they go, okay, we've been talking, because Denzel especially has been talked, because he's been awful. And there's been so much shit talked about them. I think this is the time that they're like, you know what? And I think the defensive backs and the linebackers, I think they show up. I think they ball in this game.
Yeah, and it's another thing. Nick Chubb's returning to his home state, so
first game there, right? As a pro, I think.
I mean, we had the preseason game, but did he even play in that preseason game?
That was the last one. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think he did. So, I mean, I'm kind of at this point, I'm kind of like, okay, let's run the ball. Let's have a boring game. And I kind of said something to somebody the other day. I'm like, our offense is like watching paint dry offense. And someone goes, oh, you don't know, do you? And I guess I just never really like looked at it. It's not watching paint dry offense. We have the third most explosive plays in the whole NFL.
They're third in DVOA too.
Now, granted, I'm pretty sure we only have 3 pass plays that count for the 20-plus yards explosive plays.
Yeah, I think so.
And we have 20 runs that are over 10 yards. 20.
In 3 games, that's a stupid number.
That is ridiculous. What that says to me is our offensive line is amazing, which is perfect. We can run the ball all day long. And one thing I'll give major props here. Ethan Posick, he's been awesome this year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Moved really well in space on some of those pulling situations that I knew Nick Harris would, kind of thrive in. Yeah, he's been really nice.
My main thing for this week is that I want to see, and I want to see him have a breakout game, is going to be DPJ. I think DPJ needs to step up this week. I need to see him in the end zone. I need to see him at least 7 catches this week. I want 7 receptions. Target him 10 times, get 7 receptions. I want him to have a great week. So, but that's my key to the game is going to be DPJ. So I think DPJ will get us those crucial third down catches. And I actually think it's going to be kind of like a 34 to like 20 kind of game, because Atlanta's going to score.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Atlanta's going to score. Trust me. They're going to get their points.
They do it in a really. I really like Arthur Smith's play calling and his scheme and all his design. I think it works really well. You know what? My key, the matchup that you got to watch on Sunday is Martin Emerson and Drake London. Because I think that's where Emerson ends up, because Denzel can struggle some with the bigger bodied wide receivers. And this is the kind of wide receiver you drafted a big physical corner like Martin Emerson for. And Drake London is playing really, really well. And JOK will have a task with Kyle Pitts, but he's kind of not been really utilized very well in the first 2 games. He played pretty well in this last week. But, I think Martin Emerson, he goes and he matches it up, and I think that's the key. Well, Cozzi, I really appreciate your time, man. I said, hey, we'll do about 20 minutes. We did about a fucking hour. So, like, we're just, like, partying out and having a good thing. I know everybody knows where to find you, but in case they don't, please tell everybody where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, so on Twitter, Real Mind of Cozzi. You can also check out Browns After Dark. We do a podcast every week. It's posted on DF Sports on YouTube. So Derek usually posts it usually about every Saturday. He does the edit, gets it out every Saturday night. He unfortunately has to make a bunch of cuts because we love to tell inside jokes on there, and he doesn't want to put it on his YouTube channel. So,
So he's got to go through and do all that work afterwards.
He goes, I usually have to do 2 to 3 cuts per my usual podcast. He goes, with you guys, we have to do like 25. So he goes, yeah, it usually takes about an hour for me to get through the whole editing.
I love it.
So, but anyways, yeah, Browns After Dark. So we're going to do Sunday space after the game. We're going to start doing Monday late night at 11 p.m. And then we're also going to be moving. We were doing Thursdays for a while. We don't want to do it with the game being on. So we're going to do Wednesdays at 9 p.m. now.
Awesome. You guys go check that out. It's always a really good time. Guys, I appreciate you guys. We will be back Monday with your instant reaction. I'll record not too long after the game on Sunday in instant reaction at 8 a.m. will drop just like all the other episodes. So I appreciate you guys for joining us again this week. These are NFL Week 4 picks, and I will see you guys on Monday. Go Browns.